Hey, first and foremost, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate this.
Ron, appreciate. Thanks for having me. Awesome.
I want to give kudos to whoever like typed up the. So I get emailed all the time. I'd say in the past too much. In the past 2 months, I've probably received, no kidding, over about 100 people reaching out to me to be a guest on my podcast, right?
Sheesh.
And and all the things start to look the same. When I first started reading them, I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then you start to realize, okay, it's a lot of different things. But whoever put together like your media kit and the email, like it just it felt more authentic, which I
Check.
guess makes sense for you, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so whether it was you or someone that you hired, just positive feedback. It was very clean. The media kit helps out a lot,
Check. Check.
with the pictures and all that stuff, and just a lot of um yeah, it's professionalism. So I appreciate that, and you made it easy for me to say yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Wasabi Publicity. My girl Michelle runs point
Yeah.
on getting me on platforms like yours. So definitely want to shout them out for sure.
No, it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was great. I was super impressed. But again, just you made it easy for me to say yes. But I do want to start off. What do you think of the quote? Success won't heal. I think I put success won't heal the wound. I got that from your Instagram.
Yeah. 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 A lot of times, and I think social media helps this. You just see highlight reels.
Yeah,
So people just want to get to there, wherever there is. And the reality is it's not about getting there. One, it's the journey. It's who you become from where you at to where you want to be. That's where the source really lies. So it's not about success. It's just the journey. Like people say, it's about the process, and it's definitely who you become on the way to achieving your goal or objective.
that's awesome. Before we dive deeper into that, I do want to ask, why is life great right now?
Oh man, let me tell you, I live every moment like one of the mistakes we do in life. Let me start here. Is we take life for granted. Um, I've not to go on a sad, somber note, but buried some three of my good dudes last year. I mean, these dudes might not have even been 45, right?
Hmm.
Healthy dudes. But just in general, you hear about people vegan, they work out and they pass away, and it's like you just never know. And we take it for granted. Like, I always say one of the things that stop us from being great is, the procrastination. I'll start this next year when I get everything together. But the reality is, like, you don't know when our time is up, when the expiration hits. So for me, I live in the moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dope dad. So I grew up fatherless. My dad was murdered when I was 7. So I grew up without a blueprint and was scared to go into fatherhood, right? Now I got 2 kids. My daughter, 8, gymnast, Olympian in the making, and my son is 6. He's about to be a dope track star. And, they're my why. You know what I'm saying? I'm married to medicine. Um, my health is good. It's funny. Well, I say good, right? I've been actively really just focused on my health in this last, say, 3 years. And had some struggles here and there, and it really kind of lights the fire up on you. Like, your time is not here forever. You gotta
Yeah.
take care of the body, treat the temple. I got a song called My Temple, and it talks about taking care of the temple. So all those things are clicking. I always say there's the 4 B's in life, right? Body, business, balance, and being. And for me, it's like to have that balance across what I call the core 4. Body, mental health, wellness, being, what's your relationship with your higher power, balance, what's your relationship with your spouse, your significant other, your kids, and then business. What are you doing? Are you thriving? Or are you just surviving? And just to have a balance across those 4. And for me, that's where I'm at in life. So life is good. And they always say you can take everybody's problems in the world and put it in the bag and shuffle it up, and you drag one open. You're like, I want my problems back. I don't worry about nobody problems. I want all my problems. And I think it all just makes you and just creates your experience while you're here on Earth.
Yeah, love it. You talked about like our own problems. I mean, it's what makes us authentic, what makes us us, and it's related, or it's perspective is what the word I'm trying to
Check.
think of. you talked about your friends, like 3 friends died at 40, 45 or so.
Yeah.
That really hits home because I'm 43. I'll be 44 in a couple months.
Check.
And I just retired from the military after 23 years. And
thanks for your service, brother.
hey, thanks for your service, man.
Yeah,
We'll get into that, man. But thank you for that. But one of the reasons I wanted to retire is my dad died when he was 51. And same thing. I mean, you just didn't know, and it happened. So he had a brain tumor, cancer and all that. But it just within like a year, it was just gone. Like it happened, and then he was gone. And I was 11 years old at the time, so my dad was a little bit older when I was born. But either way, roughly last year, I started thinking about retirement, and I started, once I got to 42, because then I was like, okay. My dad died only 9 years, later from this age, single digits. So I thought if I knew I was going to die in 9 years, or now it's 7 years, I think, how would I want to spend that time? Not working, or obviously I need money, but I want to spend as much time chasing that passion project or what motivates me each and every morning, and my family. So, I want to discuss. I was gonna save this for later, but since you brought it up, are you considered like a stay-at-home dad now? Since you're an entrepreneur, like you kind of do your own thing, but do you consider yourself a stay-at-home dad?
Oh yeah, absolutely, best job in the world.
Yes, I love that. Just your commitment to fatherhood. How do you parent intentionally, especially as someone who didn't grow up with a dad?
Yeah. So. Well, growing up not having a dad was interesting. So my mom's, Lifetime Achievement Award, right?
Yeah.
What I did, because they say, how do you become a dope dad if you never saw one? Well, I just dreamt, what do I wish I had, and became that 10x, right? So one of my approaches to fatherhood was, all right, my daughter was, she's my first. I said, all right, what do I want her to be like at 18? Yeah. I want to be, like a CIA operative, mentally tough, physically fit, able to communicate, interrogate, negotiate. And then I just started reverse engineering, And one of the best things I ever learned from my guy, he said, have no limitations on your child. So for some parents, like, oh, they're only 3, they're only 4. Listen, my daughter started reading. We were studying SAT words probably age 4, right? They only SAT words because we call them that. I'm just giving her vocabulary words. And that's kind of been my approach. We go full throttle. I had them training. We running stairs, just getting them ready, just breaking all the, the barriers, societal norms, Like, let's push you to your max potential and let's see what happens. And then what happens is, like, as they grow and their peers, they can never catch them, because we've been operating at a high level since age 3, you get me? So that's been my approach, really prioritizing reading. Listen, Martin, I was reading to my wife's belly. We had, the Warrior Ethos, Scholar Creed. I have like all the things, and my kids by the age of 3, 4, they was just reciting everything, So that's been my approach to fatherhood. And I just absolutely love just the fact of being present, Fortunately, we're in a position where we could buy them things and all that crap, but I study, like, what do people say on their deathbed? Like those interviews. And one of the common threads is, I wish I had more experiences in life. I wish I did more things with people that I love. And I implement those things in real time. So travel is super important.
Yeah.
Just seeing different things, the wonders of the world. So that's been my approach to parenthood.
So it's crazy. I was talking to someone. So I personally know someone, I don't want to narrow it down too much. We'll say they're above 80.
Okay.
And I know how much money they have because they've openly told me, and it's in the millions.
Mm-hmm.
They're old now. So actually, we'll say they're 95.
Okay.
But what they had expressed was one of the regrets they did all the things you're supposed to do with money. They maxed out their IRA, and saved. I mean, they had experiences and did some fun thing, but one of the things they told me was that they wish they would have traveled more. because now like they're not going to be able to spend all this money. And they said one thing they wish they never did was, or one thing they wish they would have done was go to New Zealand. They never did that, you know. And it's just things like that play into a factor. Also, I'm glad you have money, because you said your daughter does gymnastics, and just from friends that I know that do it, that is not a cheap. That is, hey, we might have to take out a second mortgage on the house, or maybe I might have to start an OnlyFans or something. I don't know. Right. My goodness, man. It's, and it's a time commitment too.
Yeah. Let me tell you, to that point, just example, two things. One, we just went, I think January, we had to go to Phoenix for a tournament. So they're staying at this 5-star resort. We got to be there for 5 days. So it's like the kid have to work or have buku bucks to just start this thing. But, you know, we committed because she committed, right?
Yeah.
And so we show up with her. I lived in PA before, and we found Dominique Dawes has a gym.
Oh, yeah. She was 96, right? Was she on the 96 or 92?
Don't give me the line. You know better than me.
Oh,
but
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, she's a beast. So I found her gym. So I would drive my daughter an hour and a half to this gym, wait an hour or so to drive her back every Saturday. I'm like, baby, you need to love this. You know what I'm saying? So it just takes a lot. Like the parent, you competing with them almost. Yeah. And you know, my moms didn't have it to do those type of things for us. So to be able to do it, I just really am grounded in gratitude. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm all in. So yeah, I love it.
No. Oh, that's so cool. My son's he's 7. He's getting into, like, I don't know why, but the periodic table. You know, you were talking about the SAT words or vocabulary with your kids. And
listen, I don't know if you've done this. So I tapped into, they've had a gradual attraction to music, especially my daughter. So I would give her the periodic table. I found a song, and she would memorize the periodic table through this song. So now she knows the periodic table. Yeah.
No, that's actually I want to touch on that now. So what inspired you to combine motivational speaking with like music and and performance?
It's a crazy journey, Martin. Let me start by, I'm gonna tell all the listeners and the viewers, anything you want to do in life, you can do it. You are the architect, the designer, and the key is, don't look for your friends and family to lock in on the dream, right? Because they only see you or know you as the person in that chapter. So for me, people know me as, you know, the college dropout or the soldier. So for me to even tell someone that I'm about to go into music, Martin, everybody, what are you talking about, right? So I just wanted to frame this with that. So I went into speaking because I wanted to just impact people. I was teaching at the college level, and I'm like, wow, you know, I'm giving them this source, but there's somebody in New Zealand or Japan or Africa or Europe that needs to hear this. How do I need to create a platform? So that was the first thinking. So then I said, you know, there are a lot of speakers. Everybody's a speaker. How do I like differentiate myself? And I used to listen to Adam Won't Lose on Tidal, Spotify. He'd be like, dear hard work, I used to hate you, but you made me better. And he's just talking, Martin, over a beat, though. So it didn't hit me until after a while. I'm like, yo, I could do this. This is different if I merge the speaking with. So I called my guy, Keith Jones, producer from St. Louis and Atlanta. I'm like, yo, Keith, I'm going to do an album. He like, Murph, what are you talking about? I'm like, listen to this dude. He listens. He said, oh, I got the beats. I said, so what's next? Start writing. That was July. November I had the album release party. Now I'll tell you, one thing was, I wanted to increase my reach, help people globally. But I told my kids, I don't know nothing about this music space, but in about 3 or 4 years, I'm gonna be performing. I'm committing to this thing, right? Fast forward, so my first album, mostly spoken word. I tried to rap once. And Martin, that thing was so hard. I got so much respect for rappers because they're like, Murph, nope, do it again. You're not in the pocket. Do it again. So fast forward, I really like the music piece more, right? And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep studying. So I'm studying Common. I'm a J fan. Jay, Big. They just had the flow, the delivery. And now I'm like locked in music. So 4 years later, my daughter comes up to me. I just got off stage, launched Music Fest, 20-minute set, all music. She said, Daddy, like 4 years ago, you said you was going to do this. And you did it. This is amazing. Martin, you can't tell her or my son they can't do anything. Because they watch me not know how to do it to performing. I'm all over Dallas, New York. And now, like that, I don't got to make $5 off of this thing. For that lesson for my kids, and they're my biggest fan. So that's how I got into music. So then I fused all three. So when I perform, Martin, I got a graduation coming up June 25th in New York. I'm going to open with my opening, which is music. I'm going to my talk. I'll do Why. It's like a poem, but with music beats. I'll do Murphy's Law a cappella, no beats, so like a spoken word poem. And then I'll close it with grab cap and song. So they get like a whole experience when I present.
That is so cool. Did you have like a breakout moment or like an aha moment or an epiphany when you knew like this hybrid format was your lane?
You know, I can't pinpoint a moment because I'm a risk taker, man. I'm one like I'm gonna do because see if I don't bet on me, who will? I'm all in on me. If I can control it, so this just means I have to practice a lot. I need 10,000 hours. I gotta study this game. Oh, I'm all in. So when I thought about it, but now I'll tell you this: the only thing that was fighting against me is that inner conversation. You get me? That Murph, what do you know about music? You're not a musician. You barely speaking. And you have to fight that guy, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, and I tell people one of my superpowers is I have delusional self-confidence. Like, I'm a Brooklyn dude. I use that as a blanket statement. You know how to do this? I'm from Brooklyn. I can do anything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that had to overpower me because the other you would crush it. And then you got certain people, they're like, Murph, you're like a 40-year-old rapper. Like trying to knock you down. So you have to just hang out. And I tell people the journey to the top is lonely because you are the only one that sees your vision and you're the only one to believe in it. And then eventually, once you got early adopters, which is usually not your family and friends, you got strangers. And then eventually when strangers are supporting you, you hear Martin, you're like, oh, I know Murph for 20 years. We go way back. That's my guy. What you was when I was struggling in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So there wasn't no one moment. I just had a vision. Like I've always, loved me some Jay. Shouts out to Jay and Big, but I just never knew how I could get to that. So now in my 40s, I kind of figured it out.
So, me being, I'm 43 and I grew up in Oklahoma. So this is, when I was 13, 14, 50, this is during the whole bad boy death row. But man, I felt like I was in the heart of it in mid Oklahoma. Like I was bad boy for life. So I used to listen to so much Biggie Smalls. Like, just brought back a lot of memories when you were talking about him.
Check.
Hey, everything you just said ties in to something I really wanted to ask you because it's man, you made a social media post and it really resonated with me, and it ties to what you just talked about, and then it ties to the beginning when, the family and friends or whoever, they're not going to see your dreams. It's like you have to do it and you have to actualize it.
Check.
But please discuss the story about feeling hollow when the room got empty. Or what does that make you think of?
So there's this quote that I love, and I talk about a lot to kids and when I do talks. And it's about a self-confidence thing. It's like when you walk in the room, that room just got better, right? So for me, and I have to, a lot of times just historically, I walk in rooms, I like sit on boards, and I'm in these, I ran the census, and I'm like in charge of 2,000 people. So I'm in rooms, usually I'm the only black dude. And I got to pull up. I can't let that be a thing, right? So I got to even make sure the work I do on myself for self-confidence, just believing that I belong there, believing that it's not about, where I come from, how I look. Like I add value. And I try to share my story so others could kind of, latch onto that and bring that with them. Because sometimes we go in these rooms, Martin, and if you like, look, different than everybody else? Or like for me, I was a college dropout. So does that mean I'm not smart? That means, college wasn't for me back then.
Yeah.
But we let that be a thing, right? Getting that inner voice. So you gotta show up. I don't care where it's at. And another thing that helps with this self-confidence is your practice. Martin, I don't show up to just anything. I don't care if we got a Zoom about Cracker Jacks. I'm out to study Cracker Jacks. I'm going to look up what's going on when the last time I did something so I can come from at least a little bit knowledgeable, and then I'll add my source to it. But that's the thing. I want everybody listening. When any room you walk in, that room just got better. You got to really believe that, and you got to embrace that and walk in that. I walk in a spirit of absolute certainty, Martin. You know what I'm saying? And it took years. It takes years to build this up. Like, it doesn't, I'm coming. You got to deal with me. And I need everybody to kind of have that spirit in them.
That's very relatable to, I don't know if you're familiar with Alex Hormozy, but he's entrepreneur.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's kind of really just blown up over the past year.
Is he a sales guy?
Yeah, sales.
Yeah,
and he, like gyms and all that stuff.
Yep.
He's blown up over the past year, but it's really been 18 years in the making. But he says he has the confidence now because of the repetition. Like, he doesn't get nervous because he has all the reps. Like, the evidence is what, like, to your point, it's the evidence, right?
Yeah.
You go back and look at what you accomplished and everything. Man, you talked about going back to the story when your daughter came up to you after the music concert and everything, and that moment stuck with you.
Yeah.
Was there a moment during your childhood when you saw someone do something and it just stuck and resonated with you? And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that was in person. It could have been someone that inspired you. Even so, like, you grew up without a father. Yeah. Was there even like a TV figure or movie figure that just really just etched themselves into your brain?
So I think two things come to mind, Mark. I don't know if it's a person per se, but paint the picture in my head. I'm from Brooklyn, Brownsville section. Violence, crime, drugs. That was the thing. So I looked up to the drug dealers. Like, these two twins, they have matching caddies and then all the cars, all the things, but then they'll disappear for like 3 months. I don't know what happened to them, realizing they went to jail. And I said, I don't want no parts of that life. So I used to watch this show, Martin, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Yeah.
Homie Robin Leach.
Yeah, Robin Leach, yeah.
And I used to see, for those that don't know, Robin Leach had toured. This is before MTV Cribs and all that.
Yeah,
he would tour the world.
80s and stuff, yeah.
Yes, right? Just showing yachts, jets. And I'm like, wait, what's that? I look out my window, I don't see that. That's what I started chasing, Martin. Like I said, I like that life right there, I could do. And I think subconsciously it's always been in there as the thing I'm just chasing. So that's one of the things, because remember, oftentimes it's about seeing what's possible, right? If we don't see what's possible, we only know what we know. So that's why books and travel and talking to people, I'd say get curious. How'd you get here? You come from Africa and now you're here, you got these businesses. What's your story? You got to talk to people. You got to get curious. You got to answer the right questions. Now, that was like the positive thing. I'll share a story. I actually haven't talked about this. I have one poem I did called Trauma Education. So when I was in middle school, I think in third grade, now I had, like, my ears were protruded, right? When I came out the womb. And, I deal with, the kids with jokes and stuff. But I had teachers that used to, like, clown me. So I got bullied from, like, teachers. They here to teach me and protect me, but it was just crazy to me. So I tell my moms, I got to ask my moms, I don't know how she did it. She did the cosmetic surgery to have my ears fixed, right? So now I got about 8, 9, 10 weeks of just wearing this big old white bandage around my head. And that was probably even worse than just getting bullied. But it did something, right? I think, so I kind of buried that. I never talked about that till recently when I did this poem. I never really spoke about this. And it like hardens you, right? You know what I mean? Because I think back, like, why was I like a jerk to people? I resonate with Eminem and 8 Mile because, I talk about my ears and then I just come for you. And I would just chop people down, but that was my defense mechanism, so I didn't have to get hurt no more. And music has helped me release some of these things I've carried for years, right? And fast forward, I ended up in education. Now I'm overseas making buku bucks, and I got an opportunity to go in to teach for America. And I said, well, I'm gonna leave 100-some thousand to do 35.5, but I'll be teaching, scholars that look like me, have similar backgrounds. I'll be able to be the teacher I never had.
Yeah.
And that, Martin, spoke volumes to me. So you talk about, like, how we got here, and my motivation is deeply rooted in just service. And, because sometimes you'll have a leadership, like, who's a dirtbag, but instead of saying, dang, this dude is like XYZ, you now see what you don't want to be like.
Yeah.
And then that's how I took my path to education, that journey.
So you went from, my understanding that right, you went from 6 figures to 35.5.
Yeah, yep.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for that sacrifice and that service, because
and it hit after year 2, because you used to those checks, right? Yeah. But Martin, let me tell you, I've taught middle school, high school, and college, and middle school is like a 401k. You don't see the return for about 20 years if you stay connected with the scholars. And I've been blessed, brother, to go from like teacher to like mentor to like big bro, you know what I'm saying, with some of my boys. I've taught an all boys middle school, and that's priceless. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. Knowing what I know now, I would do it all again the same way.
So if you were in charge of the North American education system, what course or what subject would you make mandatory that's not currently?
Yeah, life skills. When I talk about life skills, you're talking about like the ability to network, communicate, and financial literacy.
Yeah, that's a big one. So I'm a huge sports fan, but specifically basketball. But you see it in the NFL too.
Yeah, financial. And then the other thing, what I love that other countries do, like I've lived in Korea, I know they do that. At 18, you gotta serve in some capacity. So they go either, Korea specifically go Korea Army or the United States Army. They team up with us. It's called Korean Augmentee to United States Army. A KATUSA. I would also like, you do Peace Corps, something where you go travel the world and see that it's different. Like, you may look at your life and be like, we don't got this, and that. Go somewhere else, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm actually, my mom's German. So as a kid, we used to go to Germany as a summers. And this is back in the early 90s. So there wasn't social media and smartphones. And so I got something in my eye, man.
Like, I need you to be able to see, buddy.
Yeah. It's all the tears, man. Like, your story's making me, it's resonate. Nah, my eyes get super dry. But anyways, I used to go to Germany as a kid, and this is before smartphones and all that. And it was just a different experience, and I loved it. It really shaped who I am as a person. And then I joined in 2002, but my very first duty station was in Misawa, northern Japan, in January of 2004. And again, before FaceTime and smartphones, that stuff was about to come online, but it forces you to grow up and offer a different perspective. But the networking and financial literacy, where I was going with that point, because there's so many, like we see it with professional athletes who are making, like Antoine Walker's a perfect example, who made over combined 80 million in his career, and he went broke because people, like, they're not taught about taxes and just all the different things. But hey, on that, so kind of transitioning, please discuss Breakthrough Bunker.
Yeah. So wanted to build a community. Well, two things. I just kept getting hacked. I don't know what it is, why people coming for me, but I'll be on these people's social media, in IG, Facebook. Here's the thing. When I'm trying to log in, Martin, I got all the text here, all the notifications. When somebody else do it, it's just, I don't know how it's like a back door. But I was like, I need to create something. So I'm on a Mighty Network. I want to create a separate platform. But the Breakthrough Bunker, you think about people who are, ready to go next level. But I want to get people who don't think they deserve to go next level, who don't think that's even capable. Like, they say their circumstance is it. we get two choices in life I think we got to make. You get your life that you get dealt to you, right? This is where you are. This is where you at. And you say, this is it. Like, it is what it is. And I just accept life. I'm, broke. I'm in the hood. Or you say, there's more, Martin. And I think there's more is what I want people to get to. And when the breakthrough bunker, I want to bring people in who see setback as like it. But I mean, no. Setback is feedback. Like, I want you to love failure. And I want to create a community. And similarly to what I do in college courses, the class kind of teaches themselves. I'm like the guide. Yeah. Right? We learn so much from other people's experiences and other people's mistakes and shortcomings. And then we're able to say, wow, I actually can relate to that because this happened to me. Now we build it. So that's really the basis of the Breakthrough Bunker, to create a space where people could come and just be themselves. I want them to be at a place where they fall in love with failure. It's one of the things that hold us back. People are afraid to just do. They're comfortable. Like, if I do this every year, this happens. When you come out of that comfort zone, you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And it's scary. The unknown. But see, nothing grows in comfort. You got to grow in discomfort. So I tell people, chase the storm. I want all the smoke. I want all the setbacks. I want all the failure. I want chaos. Because through chaos, you find clarity on the other end. And you build and you grow. And then eventually you win. That's one of my mantras. I fail, I grow, I win.
So I told you I recently retired from the Air Force. But
sure.
During my speech, I talked about we don't grow despite the storms. We grow because of the storms.
Because of the storm.
Yeah, and that's something that I heard someone say that a couple years ago, and then it really hit. But what do you think people are scared of failure? Because I feel like people are more scared of failure now than ever before.
Yeah, well, a couple things. One could be what they see. What's around them. What are their parents like? Are their parents just getting by? And of course, nothing against just getting by. We talking. Or do you have parents who are go-getters, who are like, you know what? I'm gonna try this business. Let me use an I statement. So my kids see me. They know I try some things. Like, I've tried a hair company. I ain't got no hair. Failed, right? I went at a trucking company. Failed for several different things, but now I'm like, all right, we're gonna start another thing. Like, I'm all right with that, but some people don't see that. You get me? Some people don't see that. They see people. And there's this book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I think T.R. Harv. And he just talks about some experiences that happen in life that create your mind files. So you have money mind files. So if your parents are like, always talking about money is bad, it's the root of all evil, and, it don't grow on trees, you start having that mindset about money. So now when you grow up, you ain't, your whole approach to money is different because of the seeds that have been planted historically. So now, you got to, one, identify now, I need to change. Two, do the work to change, and then create a new set of mind files. Yeah. And I think that may be how we could associate that with failure. Some people are like, no, don't do that. We don't know what's going to happen. And then that's just how you adapt to that. Another thing I think about in the same vein is it's the people you have around you, man. I got this. Because, of course, you're a soldier. You can't go anywhere alone and like accomplish a mission. Yeah. So I call it my covert six. 6 people you need in your team to go next level. You need the doubter. This is the devil's advocate. Because when we get bright ideas, we going straight. But there's blind spots. They identify the blind spots. You got the instigator. This person keeps you fired up. You got the example. Who you want to be like, right? Like who you want to emulate. The taskmaster. I always say you need 3. 1, someone you check with daily. I went to the gym today. Cool. 7, every 7 days, you need to check in. How was your week? Where'd you fall off at? What we gotta do better? And then 30-day mark, assess the month. How can we get better? Then the last 2, the cheerleader. Cause see, on this journey, you're gonna be like hating life, whether you got the goal and you're not hitting it, you getting told no, and you need that cheerleader who's always like, yo, Martin, you're amazing, man. I know you failed 10 times, but you're gonna get up on the 11th. You need that. And last is the connector. This is the person that taps you into places you can't get in on your own, right? So you need those 6 people, because Martin, as I was talking about the people I've buried recently, you don't want people showing up on funeral night lifting you up. I want you to lift me up while I'm here. I want to stare at you lifting me up, buddy. Right? So that's just something I'm thinking about as relates to who can help you, the people you need around you.
So on that, let's go a little bit deeper on that. You've said that people don't need more hype; they need more hope. What does hope look like in action?
Hope. So I think with storytelling, right? And people that have similar lived experiences, there's a connection there, right? Yeah. You've been through some stuff. Like, so if I know somebody, I'll give you an I statement. One of my guys, we grew up in the hood together, and he went to the military, I think about 6, 7 years after me. So by the time he gets in, I'm E6 promotable, and he just couldn't understand. He said, yo, how you make staff sergeant? You know what I mean? Like, he still think I'm from the hood. I mean, I am, but I'm a different person. So he just couldn't connect, like, you know, someone from the hood could figure it out and maneuver through the ranks. But guess what? He had leadership, yes, but he listened to me because he gonna listen different to me, because we from the same space. We grew up in the same trenches. So he's like, you know what? Like, I can see me in you, so I'm gonna listen different. That's what hope looks like.
No, that's really cool, and it just has me thinking about. And thanks for sending me the copy, or Michelle sent me the copy of your book, which I appreciated. So I read it in like basically over the course of 2 nights, and I read it on a Kindle or the PDF. I typically don't read books online. I'm a hard copy guy. But,
check.
But I appreciate that. But as I was going through it, I was just taking a lot of notes.
Mm-hmm.
But in what way does Unbreakable Valor suggest that resilience and connection, to your recent points, be practically developed, especially for people facing systemic challenges or trauma?
Yeah. So, and I think one is, especially with the systemic traumas, you know, looking at people who have come from your place and made it, right? Yeah. And I'm such a studier. I look at, like, you know, someone's done this before. Someone's had these challenges and worse, but they've figured it out. Because what it is about success, Martin, success leaves clues.
Yep.
So you got to get curious enough to figure out, you know, well, one, get out of your way. Like, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? Because painful things are going to happen. Our job, Martin, is to figure out, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn from this? And what can I extract and use for good? And there's someone out there, scores of people out there who've done just that. Listen, my YouTube, so my social media looks different than a lot of people. Everything's just feeding me. It's no brawls. It's no disrespectful content. I'm real strategic with who I follow.
Yeah.
And you can find the people who have the stories that's similar to what you're going through. At the end of the day, that's why I share my story, because I hope that, you know, it can serve as a blueprint or a roadmap for someone who has a similar background or circumstance. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where we are in life, like, anything's possible. The first step is you believing that it's possible, and you, like, desiring change. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't change because it don't hurt bad enough.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the place where it's like, you know, I'm fed up. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This has got to change. And then you start activating your mind. Because once you say, I can't change. I'm from this and that. I can't. Your mind shuts down. You say, I've got to figure this thing out. Your mind's going in overdrive. How do we figure this out? Now you're going to start seeing things that might have been there already. You just didn't allow yourself to see. And that's when change starts happening. Because ultimately, like, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
So you got to decide you're ready to make change.
It's so true. I want to transition to some lighter topics.
Yeah.
So please talk about. I see they have the footballs in the back. It looks
Yep.
like you said the signed Patriots and then the signed 49ers
Yeah.
football. Yeah. So what's the story behind those?
Yeah, so I recently moved up here too. Actually, so let's be clear, I'm a New York dude, so I have no affinity to those teams. But the guy I bought this house from, he's a collector. And he had like footballs, and I mean, I have like I think I have what's this? Reggie Jackson.
So he's one of my favorite baseball players of all time. So I re-enlisted in 2008.
Yeah.
And someone got me a Reggie Jackson autographed baseball.
Shout out. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Now you know. Now me and you share something because I got one too.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was crazy, and it's something I told it was my supervisor. He was her uncle through marriage. So like her mom was the sister of Reggie Jackson's wife or whatever. Because I was like, how the hell do you know Reggie Jackson? And so it just like it blew my mind. But I've always been a big fan of him.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how I got my hands on that. I got I think a Kurt Schilling World Series. I think a Big Papi All-Star Game joint. And I think a couple other basketball stuff. So yeah, man, he definitely got me, inspired to go into like that collecting certain things. I definitely want to get into art. That's my next thing. He was what was the guy name? I forget the artist name. He had like 20 of them in here. He's like, Shaun, you don't want one? I said, no, I'm good.
I mean, you're a New York guy, but you have, she said Schilling and David Ortiz. You got the Patriots stuff, man.
Yeah. That's what he had on. What did he have? He didn't have everything he had was Boston. He's die hard, but he was so cool. He met a lot of celebs and golf people over the years. But yeah, there's some of the things I picked up off him.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Transitioning, what's your go-to book? Do you ever give people a book as a gift?
Oh,
or at least a book recommendation besides yours?
No. Listen, it's funny. I mean, I recommend mine, but I'm not like pushing it on people. If it comes up, this might be a good look. But I think I'm writing them down. Think and Grow Rich, for sure. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Man, I love that book. So I thought that was it. I was trying to squint and stuff like that. That's what I thought it was. So FBI Negotiator, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, listen, I have my kids listening. I got the audio, I got the hard copy. It's like the 3 types of yeses, labeling. It's almost unfair when I'm in conversations. I'll give you a funny story. I'm at a meeting. Was it a music meeting? Speaking, maybe it was about art design or something. And we talking, and I said, and she said, seems like you have something to say, Murph. And I said, no, I'm good. So that's from, if you know the book, that's labeling. Seems like, sounds like, looks like. And as soon as she said it, I'm like, this joker read the book.
Yeah.
She tried to run it on me. But yeah, Chris Voss. Another one is The 4 Agreements.
Yeah, by Don Miguel.
Yep. It's 2 of them, I think.
I know what you're talking about. Garcia, man, I've read. That's that's the book right there. What's the last name?
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And this one I read recently, Go for No. So he talks about embracing failure. Like there's 5 levels to failure. The ability to fail, the willingness to fail, then there's wanting to fail. Then you want to fail bigger and you want to fail faster. And lastly, you want to fail exponentially. So you want to get people on your team to fail. So what happens there what happens when that happens? When you fail, you get to figuring it out quicker. And the more you fail, the faster and the bigger you fail, the results are gonna, show. So I read that book, I think, in a day as well, a day or two. And I was just like, yo, because I just give y'all an example from the book. If I'm a real estate agent and I'm selling houses, I'm like, yo, I want to sell 10 houses, right? So I'm going to go, stumble on, I might get some no's. When I get to 10 houses, I'm going to shut it down. But if I set a goal, I want to hear 100 no's.
Yeah.
I may sell 30 houses. You get me? You increase your chances. So read the book. I get no royalties or nothing, but these are just books that I back. I love. At the end of the day, man, there's another book, The Go Giver, because it leads to my point. Anything you want in life, you got to give. So if I want more people to read my book, I got to give suggestions about other people's book. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way that life works.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, those are great book recommendations, and I'll try to link all those
Yes, sir.
in the show notes. Last couple of questions. If there was a giant billboard with your picture on it and message for the world to see, what would you want your message to say, and where would you want your billboard to be?
This is funny. So why I laugh, right? This Brooklyn kid from Brownsville. So I had a billboard in Times Square for my song Murphy's Law, to showcase that video. So I'm like in the middle of Times Square, unreal. So I'd want to be either in Times Square again, but my next play is to do it in Dubai. So I'd say Dubai since I did Times Square already.
No one's ever said that answer. Not that I can think of.
I'll do Dubai, and it will be, it'll represent, my mantra: I fail, I grow, I win. Bang.
Love it, and that's great. Very creative. That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
All right, one last question. This is a question. So the billboard used to be my closer, and I've had my podcast for 8 years, but really within the past 6 months or so, I've started asking this last question to close out my podcast. But what is one piece of wisdom you would pass on to the next generation of people to help them light their own torch and carry it forward?
One piece of wisdom. Okay. So I'd say a few things. This is a good one. One is surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you coming. That's a powerful one. And I think, for my young people, just echo some stuff I said already. It's important with who you keep around you, right? Small is better. Small team. I think there's 3 people you want to keep around you. Someone who's ahead of you, so you got something to look forward to, someone to look up to. Someone who's beside you, because you got someone in the trenches, that's your battle buddy, and they walking through the journey with you. And someone who's behind you, so when you get where you're going, you can pull them back up because you've already cleared the way, right? And you got to remember, every time you get to the top of a mountain, you're on the base of the next one, so keep climbing.
That's perfect. I want to end on that. Shaun, thank you so much. Do you have any parting thoughts or parting shots that you want to share with everyone?
Yeah. If I may, definitely, if anything I said today kind of ignited anything in you, I definitely want to encourage you to go pick up Unbreakable Valor, Triumph Through the Soul of Resilience. I see it as a roadmap to help you go from, where you at to where you want to be. But yeah, now, Martin, I appreciate you, man. This time has been really fun, and double salute.